Yo, what's up guys? So today we are gonna see, what if God-Like Naruto removes his mask, and shows his true strength of Sharingan Rinnegan movie. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, go check out the author of this fanfic, the Shinigami's Firstborn, link is in the description, and also subscribe to my channel, and like this video. Let's begin the video. Jiraiya dropped Uzumaki onto the ground. Slowly, Uzumaki began to regain his consciousness. He began to get up. Uzumaki woke up groggily, and looked around his surroundings. Where was he anyway? Before fainting, he was trying to summon a frog, but instead he kept summoning tadpoles. He kept summoning, and soon he collapsed from chakra exhaustion. Get up. Uzumaki jerked around to see his recent mentor Jiraiya. Ha! Where are we? Uzumaki asked. Looking around, there was what seemed to be a line of bushes. There were a few trees here and there. He took a look at Jiraiya's face. It was one of seriousness. Get up. There was no humor in his voice, so Uzumaki quickly obeyed, knowing that Jiraiya wasn't a man to cross. He began to speak. The training ends today. If you don't want to die, then figure it out yourself. What? Uzumaki was perplexed. He had just been taught the summoning, which he still needed to perfect. Why was Jiraiya ending the training now? His teacher slowly raised his hand and, using his finger, gave a poke to Uzumaki's forehead. Then he flew through the line of bushes, and saw nothing on the other side. It was simply a gorge, one of the last places Uzumaki wanted to fall. Jiraiya simply listened, hearing his pupils' screams slowly fade away. Now we'll find out shortly whether Kyuubi's power that was granted to you is really a blessing or a curse, Jiraiya thought. Uzumaki was still falling. Seeing a rock ledge come into view, he summoned some chakra into his hands. He grabbed it, but to his dismay, he slipped and continued to fall. It's useless, Uzumaki, the rocks are too slippery from the waterfalls. In addition to your falling, you're not going to stick with a little bit of chakra, Jiraiya thought after seeing Uzumaki's incorrect methods of saving himself. Uzumaki, you have no choice. You have to rely on Kyuubi's chakra. Use the key this time from your end. That bastard, I should have never hid behind this stupid mask. If I get out of this, I'll take no more shit from anyone. Uzumaki thought, as he continued hurtling down a waterfall, and would soon meet his demise when he reached the bottom of it. I refuse to die. He screamed in his thoughts. All of a sudden, time seemed to stop for him. Everything slowed down, and he felt as if he was being pulled into another world. Unknown location. Uzumaki appeared in sea of white. So the pervert fucking killed me, hollow bastard, mumbled Uzumaki looking around. You're dead, a feminine voice said, although when I'm done with you won't even be possible. He turned around to see a beautiful woman about 5'6", and was wearing a white kimono with golden swirls, and was barefooted. She had an herbless figure, and ate katsu pie. She had a heart-shaped face with ivory-colored skin. Her eyes were golden color, and she had long flowing snow-white hair that stopped to the middle of her back. Who are you, and what did you mean by that? Asked Uzumaki. My name is Kami, and you are my chosen, said the newly named Kami while Uzumaki's eyes widened. What exactly does that entail? You're going to be trained by me, and a couple of other strong fighters, and if you wish it, you will be my husband, she said, smiling while Uzumaki blushed. But why me? He asked quietly after getting his blush under control. Your life wasn't supposed to be how it turned out. I was swamped with work, and when I checked again everything went wrong. She answered sadly. You were supposed to live with the love of your parents, but that didn't happen. This is my way of apologizing for my mistake. There's nothing to apologize for, Kami-chan. Listen, I'm going to implant memories of 4 of your ancestors in your mind, and I want you to go to the lookout that the first Uzumakis used to train, she said, as a gold, blue, purple, and black with red outline orbs appeared over her hand, and the 4 orbs flew into Uzumaki. I'll be waiting, Uzumaki-kun. Real world. Uzumaki's body continued falling when his eyes snapped open, and flashed teal before he on instinct used kite to stop himself from falling. While my ancestors were badass, the Rakugo Sennin, Ichigo, Goku, and Vegeta, their abilities will come in handy, but first I have to get to the lookout, Uzumaki thought, flaring his kai. Uzumaki shot out of the gorge, so fast Jiraiya never even saw him before a punch connected to his face. When Jiraiya looked up holding his broken nose, he saw Uzumaki standing there, but he was different. Where he was 4'11", he was now 5'3". His hair was longer, his bangs reaching his shoulders, and his hair more spiky with 2 sticking out like fox ears. Think Akatsuki Team 7 Uzumaki pick, and his jumpsuit ripped apart from his sudden growth. You bastard, you tried to kill me, stay away from me, tell the old man I'll be back for the finals. Uzumaki said, glaring before he took off through the sky. Uzumaki. I really messed up now, sigh, but how'd he fly away like that? Jiraiya said to himself before sunshine went away. With Uzumaki. Uzumaki was currently flying high above the clouds, enjoying the feeling of freedom he was having when he saw a huge bowl-like palace. Wow, it looks amazing, even though I have memories of this place, but seeing it with my own eyes is spectacular. Thought Uzumaki before he landed on the platform, and walks around seeing how dusty the place was. This place could use some cleaning, Uzumaki said to himself before he formed a cross-hand seal shadow clone jutsu. 10 clones appeared. Get to work on cleaning this place, he ordered. While the clones cleaned, Uzumaki went to find some clothes to wear. 15 minutes later, Uzumaki was standing in front of a white door. Taking a deep breath, Uzumaki walked into the room. The hyperbolic time chamber has an entrance at its center, located in a central building with 2 side wings with housing, food supplies, and bathing quarters. There was nothing that tells if it was light or day. Everything was just white that made the room look like it went on for miles. Welcome, Uzumaki-kan. Turning to his right, Uzumaki saw Kami standing there smiling. Walking over to her, Uzumaki smiled. This place is kinda weird, but if it'll make me stronger then I'm all for it, Uzumaki said enthusiastically. Good, because we're going to start now. Meet your trainers, Kami said before she snapped her fingers, and a flash appeared, and 8 people appeared. I won't explain what they're wearing. Think canon. From left to right we have the Shodaime Hokage Hashirama Senju, Nidaime Hokage Tobarama Senju, the 3rd Reikiji, Izuna Uchiha, Mikoto Uchiha, Mito Uzumaki, and your mother, and father Kushina Uzumaki, and Minato Namikaze. Kami introduced while a tear slid down Uzumaki's face at his parents. Taking a step forward, Uzumaki appeared in front of the both, and hugged them while crying. Incredible. He used Shunpo on instinct alone, and he isn't disoriented from it at all, Kami thought, while everyone watched with warm smiles. How? Uzumaki asked, looking at Kami. I mean, I know you're Kami, but don't you have rules against this type of thing? Normally yes, but you see I have too much work. I can't keep track of everything you see. Despite popular belief there aren't any other gods or goddess, she said. Shocking, Uzumaki. The ones that are said to exist are actually techniques I have created. You will be the first god in existence, Uzumaki-kun. I have a mission for you though, but I'll tell you about it when everything is said and done. Kami explained cheerfully. Now create as many clones as you can, she instructed. Uzumaki put his hands together and shouted multi-shadow clone jutsu. In a puff of smoke 3,000 clones appeared, while each of Uzumaki's teachers got evil smiles. Okay, each of you separate into groups of 375. Kami yelled before she turned to the teachers, while clones followed her order. Go get a group 2, I mean train yet train. I modified the chambers so we'll be in here for 31 years. It should be finished by the time the finals take place. Kami explained while Kushina and Minato smiled brightly, knowing they will be with their son for 31 years. The teachers all walked to a group before they went their separate ways, and out of sight. While Kami kept the original. Now Uzumaki-kun, you will be here physically training, and getting your new abilities under control. I also want you to create a sword of your own, and fuse it with Tensu Zangetsu. Any questions before we start? She asked, rubbing her hands together. Yeah, why are there Uchiha training me? I don't have Sharingan. Uzumaki asked with a raised eyebrow. Oh right, I forgot. The Uzumaki clan were distantly related to the Senju clan by the sage's daughter marrying one of Goku's and Vegeta's descendants. As their bloodlines mixed over the years they became the Uzumaki clan. The Namikaze clan was members of the Senju clan, and Uchiha clans that wanted peace. There were also a clan known as the Kurosaki clan, before they were wiped out after a disease killed all spiritually aware individuals. A survivor named Ichigo married into the Namikaze family. That's how you are related to the sage, and the ancestors you know about. You are a direct descendant of the Rakuto Sennin. The Uchiha are here because they could teach you about the Sharingan, and when you have a full handle on your Sharingan, I'll fuse it with your Rinnegan, Kami explained before she saw the glint in Uzumaki's eyes. I will also have the eyes self-destruct if you become arrogant, she said seriously, while Uzumaki paled and looked down in shame. Sorry about that, Uzumaki apologized. Can't be arrogant because of my power increase. Ancestor Goku was never arrogant, and he was impeccably strong. I'll surpass him and everyone else. I promise, Uzumaki thought determinedly, before a burst of power originated from his eyes which he ignored. I'm ready, Kami-chan, Uzumaki said, showing his newly activated Rinnegan. Kami smiled approvingly. Good, now I want you to run around this track, but before that she walked up to Uzumaki, and tapped his arms, chest, and legs before Uzumaki fell to the ground. I just added 10x normless gravity to your body to give me 60 laps. She said while Uzumaki grumbled about sadistic teachers, and trudged his way to the field. With Kushina. Kushina was looking out at the clones. As they worked through the sword kata she showed them with their Tensu Zangetsu, while she was conversing with one of the clones. I'm sorry your life was so terrible, Uzumaki-kun. I was really happy when I found out I was pregnant with you. It was probably the happiest moment of my life. Kushina explained while the clone smiled at her, and hugged her. You don't have to be sorry. Tsunade-chan told me you loved me when we exchanged letters secretly every other month, clone Uzumaki said. I'm glad she's doing her best to stay in your life, even though she doesn't want anything to do with the Leaf Village. Yeah, I don't know why, but every time I think about the pain she's been through my chest tightens, and I just want to get stronger to protect her from all the pain, Uzumaki said, clutching his chest, while Kushina smiled. He really loves her, even if he doesn't know it yet. Thought Kushina. Well then, before you get started we have to talk about something. It's time you had to talk, she said, smiling while Uzumaki looked confused. With Uzumaki. Uzumaki was currently huffing and puffing with sweat dripping down his form before a memory came to him from a clone who was talking to his mother, and a blush covered his face with blood dripping down his nose, and he fainted. Kami giggled seeing his reaction. He's so innocent, although I can't believe she was that detailed. I guess she will never forgive Minato for his decision with Uzumaki being a Jinchuriki. I guess my first harem sister already thought of Kami with a perverted grin. Month later, 31 years in the time chamber. Uzumaki, who was mentally 44 but looked 21 years old, standing in front of the chamber door about to head to Konoha. The last 31 years had been intense after his training. Uzumaki was sent to a different dimension to learn new things and test his skills, and it was all worth it. Uzumaki's clothing had changed. He had a black t-shirt that hugged his form, showing his six-pack to everyone. He had red combat pants with black steel cap boots. Think Goku's shoes, only black. On his face was a white fox mask with red lines descending from the eye holes. His eyes were all black with 3 golden lines moving from the slitted pupil, and had 3 golden tomo on each line. He was carrying a 5 feet 61/2 inches overall with a black blade that measures 40 long, with a black handle with the crimson kanji for moon, along 20 chain links on the handle. This was Tensu Masamune Jetsu. He had fused Tensu's Anjetsu with a sword he created named Masamune. The blade was indestructible, and it kept all of Anjetsu's original abilities. With a swipe of his hand, the mask glowed black with a red outline, and faded away, leaving a 21-year-old looking Uzumaki, while his eyes turned red and black, before they turned again to their original blue. Today's the day. The world sees the new Uzumaki. Uzumaki Namikaze, Uzumaki said. Give them hell. Narukana voice said. Uzumaki turned around to see Kami, Kushina, Mikoto, and Mito standing there smiling. During his training he had grown close to each of them. He first tried to see them as family, but it didn't work, and when Kami told him she wanted him to have mates, to have more goddesses, Uzumaki went straight to the girls, and marked them being the Shinigami, Mito being Inari, and Kushina being Yami. I will, my Uzumaki said, as he kissed each before he shape-shifted into his 16-year-old form, now standing 5'8", walked out of the chamber waving. Real world. Konohagakure. The day of the Chunin exam finals had come for everyone that had wanted to see the competitors fight for the glory of their village. The viewer stands were packed. On one side were the judges, on the other side were the shinobi, mainly Chunin and Jonin. In the center there were the villagers, and any genin shinobi. At the top was the cage booth, consisting of Sarutobi and the Kazukiage. Sarutobi couldn't wait for Uzumaki to arrive. He had heard what happened, and gave Jiraiya an earful for his reckless actions. Jiraiya had gone to look for Uzumaki, but he was nowhere around, so they just settled for when he returned to see what's changed. In the arena, standing there was Neji, Gaara, Shikamaru, Tamari, Kankuro, Shino, and they were waiting for the Hokage to make his announcement. Up in the stands Sakura, Ino, Kibba, Hinata, Tenten, and Choji were waiting, as well. I wonder where Sasuke-kun is, thought Sakura. Wonder where Uzumaki is. No one has seen him for the entire month, said Ino. Who cares about that stupid baka? He's nothing compared to Sasuke-kun. He's a genius, answered Sakura. How could you say that he's your teammate? Asked Ino, shocked, while Sakura stayed silent. That was when Hiruzen walked up and did his speech about how they all managed to make it this far in the exams. After giving his speech, a Jonin named Gemma came down to announce the fights. The first match of the Chunin exams will now begin. Will Hyuga Neji and Uzumaki step forward while the other competitors go to the fighter's box to wait until it is your turn, said Genma, as he heard the crowd cheer, and the Jonin wondered if it was for the obvious reason that Uzumaki wasn't here. Coward. He says he'll make me pay, but in the end he's just a loser, thought Neji, smirking. Since Uzumaki is not here, Hyuga Neji is said Genma, but was silenced by a whistle catching everyone's attention. They turned to see Uzumaki with a dango stick in his mouth, smirking. Sorry I'm late, got hungry on my way here, Uzumaki said before he walked to stand in front of Neji, while everyone looked shocked that he wasn't wearing any orange. Are you both ready? Genma asked, seeing them nod. Hajime, shouted Genma. It doesn't matter how much you changed over the course of this month given to you to prepare Uzumaki-san. You are a loser, and you will nurk. Neji never got the chance to finish, as he was punched in the stomach, forcing him to double over, and a knee was sent crashing into his face, sending him flying back. He struggled to get to the ground. He glared at Uzumaki. This is a fight, stop with the monologue already, Uzumaki said evenly. Neji glared at Uzumaki and activated his Byakugan. He was going to charge when he realized one important fact: he couldn't see Uzumaki deactivating his. Neji screamed. Why can't I see you with my Byakugan? Everyone was shocked to hear that, while every Hyuga activated there, and had the same result as Neji. It's a seal I created, Uzumaki said, while everyone who knew of how complex seals are to even learn looked shocked. I originally created this seal to fight Uchihas. They're a bunch of stupid bastards. A good Uchiha is a dead Uchiha, Uzumaki shrugged, while no one could believe what they were hearing. But your teammate is Uchiha. So, Team 7 is more like Team Joke. Look at all the members. A pathetic fangirl who can't use that huge forehead of hers to think of a damn thing useful. A gay Uchiha who only broods and plot revenge all day guys of flight risk, and me the dope, demon, baka, and a handful of other names, and a teacher who plays favors and only trains the Uchiha and preaches about not abandoning comrades fucking hypocrite. Uzumaki said while Sakura was shouting from the stands, but everyone ignored her. What happened to you? You were nothing like this a month ago. Neji asked, trying to think of a strategy. Oh, I've always been like this. You see, I've come across a very precious memory of the events of my birth which lead to the life I have lived, and my mask needed to go. What you see here is the real Uzumaki. I am Uzumaki Namikaze, son of Kashina Uzumaki, and Minato Namikaze Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune, and if you don't like it you can suck my D. Uzumaki yelled before he vanished in a burst of speed, and kicks Neji in the chin, sending him flying. He appeared over Neji, and hit him with his fist intertwined, before he shouted Kauken. His body got a red hue, and he punched Neji in his spin, and appeared on the ground, and punched Neji in the guts, forcing Neji to spit up blood unconscious. Winner by knockout Uzumaki Namikaze. Genma yelled while everyone was sitting, shocked by Uzumaki's proclamation, and comparing Uzumaki and Minato together. He knows. But how is that secret known to only 3 people? Sarutobi thought. He's that bastard's son, how could I have missed it? Thought Orochimaru in his disguise, and silently seething at how he lost his chance to have the ultimate body. Uzumaki sighed, and floated up off the ground, shocking everyone further before he sat on the roof of the fighter's box, and unsealed a plate of dango. Can I have some? A voice asked. Sure you can, Koko-chan, Uzumaki said, smiling. So you remember me? Yeah, you were the first one in the village to ever treat me normal, Uzumaki said, looking to the figure on his right. I appreciate everything you did for me, Anko-chan, Uzumaki said, looking at Anko seriously. Anytime Foxy-kun, Anko said, smiling while chewing on her dango, while Uzumaki chuckled before he looked down at the field for the next flight to star. Cage booth. Hokage-sama, the Uchiha has not arrived yet, and the next match he has with Gaara no Sabaku is supposed to start now. Should we postpone the match? Said a Jonin. The Uchiha had his chance to compete today, but blew it by not showing up, and should not get a free pass because of his clan name. Clients will expect the shinobi they hire to be on time, and if we excuse Sasuke because of his clan, then we are telling them that we don't care about them. We tell them that they should have to wait for an uncertain and unknown amount of time, because of spoiled children like him. Tell Genma that the Uchiha is disqualified, said Sarutobi, as he felt his old spirit come back, already knowing the council would blow a gasket and start to yell at him, but Sarutobi didn't care, and wasn't going to care what they said. The Jonin nodded to the Hokage, and informed Genma to make the announcement that got many people in Konoha booing the decision. Will Kankuro no Sabaku and Shino Aburam please come down to get ready for the next fight, said Genma, as the crowd was finally coming back to his senses, and wanted to see another fight. Proctor, I forfeit, said Kankuro, earning him boos from the crowd, and the cold blue eyes that narrowed in on the puppet user. Okay. No Sabaku forfeits, so Shino Aburam is the victor of this match. Will Tamari no Sabaku and Shikamaru Nara step forward for their match, said Genma, as he saw Tamari fly down on her fan, and she looked ready to bash her opponent's skull in. Troublesome. Maybe I should forfeit too since I'm fighting a girl again, said the lazy Shikamaru, only to be sent over the edge of the railing by Uzumaki, who heard him, and summoned a chakra chain to wrap around Shikamaru, and place him in the arena. Those who saw the chain had memories of a red-haired Kunoichi. Stop being a pussy, Shikamaru, this is the Chunin exams you're supposed to fight. Uzumaki called out, still sitting with Anko. Damn you, Uzumaki, you so troublesome, said Shikamaru. Same, as canon. Winner. Tamari no Sabaku by forfeit, said Genma, shaking his head. The next match will be Gaara no Sabaku fighting Uzumaki Namikaze. Will both fighters please come down for your match, said Genma, as Gaara appeared in a swirl of sand, and Uzumaki gave Anko the rest of the dango, and appeared 15 feet away from him. Genma was about to start the match when a wind blew into the stadium to reveal Sasuke Uchiha, and his teacher Kakashi had cried behind him. I'm sorry. We're not late for Sasuke's match, are we? Said Kakashi, as his one eye formed into a U shape, and many in the stands were sweat dropping at the man. Actually, you're very late, Kakashi. The Hokage disqualified Sasuke, and we're now into the semi-finals, said Genma, seeing the other Jonin's shocked look, and Sasuke seethed in rage from the news. What? Who's Gaara fighting? I'll just take that place, said Sasuke, as he saw Gaara standing in front of Uzumaki. Moved. Oh, this is my fight, Sasuke said, standing next to Uzumaki. Leave, Sasuke. This is not your fight. I wouldn't say it again, said Uzumaki, calmly turning to the side slightly. You leave, losers. I'm an Uchiha. You're nothing but some pebble on my road. Sasuke never got the chance to finish, as he was punched in the face, and sent barreling into a wall. Let's see how he likes it when he's incapable of getting the third Tomo, let alone a Mangekyo, Uzumaki thought, as Kakashi appeared in front of him. How dare you attack the last Kakashi, and everyone else on the arena floor were sent plummeting into the ground, as Uzumaki's spear pressure flooded the area. I have very little patience for you, hypocrite. Leave now, Uzumaki said, glaring before he lightened upon the pressure. He didn't notice Gaara use a forced sleep technique on himself. Kakashi gulped and took Sasuke off the field so the fight could start. Are both fighters ready, Hajime? Said Genma before getting far away from the two, knowing they were about to do serious damage to the other. Before Uzumaki could move, Gaara started clutching his head and was grunting in pain before he opened his eyes, and they were now the Shikaku's eyes. You're very strong. I want your blood. In a burst of golden brown chakra, Shikaku in full form appeared with Gaara's body hanging limply from the demon's forehead. Shit, thought Uzumaki before he vanished from the arena floor and appeared under Shikaku's chin. He launched a punch which connected and snapped Shikaku's head back. Uzumaki was about to continue when wind release. Air bullet blast of air hit him, sent him crashing into the stands. Yes, I killed him. I am the strongest there is, screamed Shikaku. Everyone continued to look at Shikaku laugh about killing Uzumaki. They were about to charge when damn, that actually stung a bit, a voice said. They turned to see Uzumaki walking out of the hole he made with his shirt destroyed. He came to a stop at the balcony. He wants to play with the big boys. Ha, fine, let's see how long he lasts, Uzumaki thought before he looked around him. I'd advise you all to step away from me, Uzumaki said. Everyone moved away except for Team 7, believing that Uzumaki had nothing under his sleeve. Uzumaki concentrated. Then he proceeded to transform into a Super Saiyan. Think Goku versus Fat Android. The shockwave sent Team 7 tumbling, while everyone else looked at the new red-haired Uzumaki. And Shikaku's memory of the time he was the Jubi was telling him what the boy he was fighting was impossible. Shikaku yelled, getting everyone's attention. You're a descendant of those two, he yelled in fear. So you know what I am? Asked Uzumaki, smirking. Sane, shouted Shikaku. What's a Sane, and why is Shikaku so afraid of it, thought everyone. You have two choices, Shikaku: fight and die or go back into your vessel. Shikaku didn't waste any time as he returned to Gaara's body. Winner of the Chunin exam semifinals, Naru said Genma, but was interrupted as an explosion occurred from the cage booth, signaling the invasion has started. Kanahagakure, Chunin Stadium. Uzumaki looked up at the purple barrier that sealed off 3 cage-level shinobi from everyone else. Uzumaki was about to make his way to the barrier when his name was called. Uzumaki. He turned to see the Jonin senseis looking at him. What? I need to help the old man, said Uzumaki. Go help with damage control. Have faith in Hokage-sama and Jiraiya-sama, said Asuma, while Uzumaki's eyes widened, then narrowed. Have faith? We're talking about a 69-year-old man who's done nothing but sit in his office, doing paperwork and reading porn for the past 15 years. Uzumaki said, well, some of the Jonins look thoughtful. Jiraiya of the Sannin may be up there as well, but I can guarantee that it won't be enough. But fine, you go help, because if they don't get help up there, we won't have either a cage or a toad. Sannin. Uzumaki finished as he extended his arm out, and in a swirl of black and red spirit energy Tensumujutsu appeared. Then he vanished in a Sonido. What was that technique? I couldn't track his movements, thought Kakashi. I'll have him teach me, and Sasuke that before he lifted his 8 from his eye. What happened to Uzumaki? Thought the other senseis. What do we do? Asked Kurenai curiously. Uzumaki is just joking. Hokage-sama will pull out of this alive, trust me, Kakashi said with a nice smile before they sunshine away while Kurenai looked at the barrier. I have a bad feeling about this, Kurenai whispered before she joined her comrades. With Uzumaki. Uzumaki was currently making his way to the daimyo's booth, killing all in his way. Why hasn't anyone made their way up to the daimyo's room? I mean, yeah, he has samurais around, but they could at least come to help out, thought Uzumaki before he rounded the corner and saw the door was destroyed and the dead bodies of samurais and Samoto Jonins were scattered around, sniffing around to get a scent. They must already be outside of the village, though Uzumaki before he vanished in a shunpo. With the fire daimyo. The fire daimyo was being led to some location with at least 10 Jonin-level shinobi around him. He was hoping some Leaf Nin would come rescue him before he was too far from the village. He was currently thinking about his surrogate sister's son. They better come help me, and just when I find out that Minato and Kushina Ni's son has been alive all this time. I'm sure he and Tsunade Dono would want to know that they both own the land Konoha is built on, thanks to their clan heritage, man, and the money has been piling up too. They stink rich even by daimyo standards, and I'm sure if Tsunade Dono will just come back to the village, she would be able to pay her debts easily. He thought unconcerned that he might die today. The walk was done in silence when all of a sudden a black and red blur appeared and took the fire daimyo from his captors, leaving an afterimage behind. Uzumaki appeared with the daimyo behind a tree. Stay here, daimyo-sama, I'll deal with the trash, Uzumaki said before he vanished in a burst of speed, leaving 2 shadow clones with the daimyo. With Odo Shinobi. They were looking around for the daimyo who just phased out of existence a second ago. Yashi Taicho, Orochimaru-sama will be very upset if we don't get to the rendezvous point without the daimyo, said a shinobi. When the caption didn't respond, he placed his hand on his shoulder, and the head fell off, shocking him completely. He turned to his comrades, only to find them dead as well. Guys, He looked around to see the enemy, but couldn't find him or her. He heard breathing behind him. Turning around, he came face to face with a white fox mask with red lines descending from the eye holes. The eyes were all black with golden fox-like slits for pupils. He tried to scream when the figure's hand shot out and grabbed him by the lower part of his face, and the hand started lighting up, and a flash of black was all he knew. The last thing he heard was a demonic voice saying "Zero." With the swipe of a hand, the mask turned into black with a red outline and dispersed in the air, allowing the fire daimyo who was watching with the clones to see Uzumaki looking into the sky. Makoto-chan will be summoned to this plane, which means Hiruzen will have to use the Shiki Fusion. If Ito Tensei was used if the chakra signatures I'm sensing are correct, Uzumaki thought before he turned to the fire daimyo. Daimyo-sama, those clones will protect you until this invasion is done with. They will take you somewhere safe, said Uzumaki while the daimyo nodded, still in shock at the technique he had just witnessed, while Uzumaki put on his hollow mask and vanished. Earlier, up in the cage's box, Sarutobi met the eyes of the Kazuki-age. In a split instant, the Wind Shadow's guards acted by igniting a smoke grenade, while tossing two kunai into the flak vest of the Hokage's Jonin guard. As the man slumped against the wall, he pleaded that his leader get away while he could. Reacting before Hiruzen could, the Kazuki-age dashed over and looped an arm around Sarutobi's neck, before jumping straight up to the roof of the structure. Sarutobi-sensei, Jiraiya asked with a shocked expression, as he shunted to the box and jumped to the roof with some Anbu operatives. I'm afraid to say that this is not the Kazuki-age, but in fact my ex-student, your ex-teammate. Isn't that right, Orochimaru? Sarutobi said with calm anger, as he glanced at his once favorite pupil, who was in the process of pulling away his mask. Why, Sarutobi-sensei, I'm hurt that you would refer to me in such a way. Don't I still mean something to you? Now, Orochimaru said with that infuriating smile of his, as he ordered his people to do something further. Hearing the order, and getting ready to fend off whatever the Hibi-Sannin had prepared, the only warning Jiraiya and the Anbu got was the thought of a kunai hitting the ground. Jiraiya reacted the quickest, and jumped when his instincts told him to. Luckily he listened, as the kunai exploded from nowhere, and all the Anbus still standing there burst into flames. You're not getting out of here alive, Hibi-teen, said Jiraiya while glaring at Orochimaru. Whatever you say, dope. Now then, shall we begin with the festivities, my dear old teammate and ex-sensei? Do it. Orochimaru asked mockingly before he ordered his people to do something else. From the two bodies of the former guard for the fake Kazuki-age burst four people who each took a corner of the roof. Each of them wore attire marking them as an inframoto, but that was where the similarities ended. Alright, time to do some damage. I'm Seiken of the West Gate. A voice said it belonged to a boy with bluish-gray hair with long bangs that covered one eye. He wore turquoise lipstick and brown eyeliner, which made his appearance more feminine. This shall be interesting. I am Kitamaru of the East Gate. A boy with 6 arms and an Odo Hidite said with a smirk. Today is the end for you Konoha Shitstons. I'm Teiaya of the North Gate. The voice of the only female of the group rang out. It belonged to a tomboyish red hat that wore a hat made entirely of bandages. Teiaya, women shouldn't swear like that. I am Jirobo of the South Gate. A large kid with a reddish-orange mohawk and a sleeveless gray shirt. Enough chatter, perform them. Orochimaru said with a hint of annoyance in his voice. Everyone on the roof could only watch, as the 4 teens each made the hand sign for tiger, and then held it out in front of them while building chakra. 4 violet flames battle encampment, the 4 teens shouted. The purple-colored barrier sprang up on the roof, just as another squad of Anbu arrived to aid their Hokage. One of the black-cloaked ones jumped towards the barrier, thinking nothing of what effects might be on it. Instantly, the moment the masked shinobi touched it, he burst into flames, prompting the other 3 to stand down for the moment, as they assessed the situation. Hold it, it looks like anything we try against that could only lead to our demise. For now we have to trust our leader and Jiraiya-sama to hold their own until they can manage to take down the barrier from the inside. The Anbu captain explained from just a glance at what the seal just did to one of his subordinates. How good luck with it, you shitheads. The old man and the perv both have a better chance of just rolling over and croaking right now, Teiaya said with a taunting smile to the Anbu, as she and the rest of the Sound 4 erected a second barrier inside the first to protect them from harm. Inside the barrier, Orochimaru and Sarutobi leaped away from each other and just stared off while they removed the robes they were wearing. They each wore their signature look. For Orochimaru it was a look that was almost identical to his shinobi that were holding the barrier. Sarutobi on the other hand was wearing a black jumpsuit with grey shoulder armor, a gauntlet on his right arm, a leaf forehead protector bandana with long straps, and a ninja helmet which he wears under it, and the kanji for Sandaime was inscribed on the back of this outfit, while Jiraiya cracked his knuckles. So Sarutobi-sensei, Jiraiya, it seems that we can start getting reacquainted inside this barrier. This way you both can watch your precious village crumble to ash, and be unable to stop it at all. Orochimaru said with a devious smile. This is bad, I can't take Jiraiya, and Sarutobi-sensei Tajitor thought before an idea came to his head. Spare us your theatrics, Orochimaru, your ambition will fail, and Konoha will stand tall against your threat, Hiruzen said, as he took a ready stance. Poor fools, you both are all by yourselves in here with the god, what could you possibly hope to accomplish? Orochimaru asked, as he crossed his arms in a relaxed pose only to cry out in pain a moment later from a kunai cutting his cheek before looking to Jiraiya, who was beside Sarutobi who was smirking with his arm outstretched, showing he had freed the kunai. If you're bleeding, then you're no god, just a gay pedophile with a god complex, Jiraiya said smirking before he got into a ready stance of his own. I appreciate the help Jiraiya, but we both know I won't survive this encounter with Orochimaru, we're going to do what we should have done all those years ago. Sarutobi said, as with a heavy heart he resigned himself to truly fighting his favorite student. I know old man, but I'll try to keep you alive through this fight. Jiraiya said determinedly while Sarutobi grew a soft smile. I originally didn't plan on being here Jiraiya, but I'm glad you are. It'll just make my victory all the sweeter when I watch the light leave both of your bodies. Orochimaru said, as he stared down both his opponents with a confident smirk. To everyone in the booth watching, they could feel the tremendous amount of chakra being built up by all three fighters, as they waited for the other to make a move. The Anbu operatives were kneeling in awe at the raw power of a truly cage-level battle that was about to begin, wasting no time. Student and sensei leaped at each other, with Jiraiya prepping of his own to use. Orochimaru and Sarutobi both flew through hand signs at a rapid pace. Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique Sarutobi threw a shuriken that multiplied until an entire wall of the projectiles were flying at Orochimaru. Summoning. In pure world resurrection Orochimaru slammed his hands onto the roof, and he took hold immediately, as a large wooden coffin started to arise. As the second coffin was rising Sarutobi's shuriken slammed into both with great force, but it looked as if his attack did nothing to halt the. Jiraiya, quickly we must stop the third coffin from rising. Sarutobi said, as he performed the counter signs to the, and flared his chakra. Jiraiya blurred through hand signs, as he jumped next to Sarutobi, and barely managed to stop the third coffin with an earth. However, before he could make another move, Orochimaru was already on the move, as he leaped towards them with his hands already in the seal for him. Shadow Snake Hand, as the snakes emerged from his sleeves, Orochimaru didn't care if his opponents dodged or blocked the attack. The real battle was just getting started. It would seem we could not stop the first two coffins from arising. Sarutobi said with regret and disappointment in his voice, as the coffin lids started to open. Yes, but who did he summon? Jiraiya asked, as he inwardly cursed himself. I believe you will truly find my present to your liking sensei, and an honor for you, as well Dobe. Orochimaru said with a twisted grin, as the lids crumbled to the ground, revealing two people easily recognizable to Sarutobi. Before him stood two men he respected and admired above all others in his life save a few, the Shodaime Hokage Hashirama Senju, still adorned with his red samurai armor and headband, and the Nidaime Hokage, and brother to the Shodaime Tobirama Senju, also wearing his blue armor and a head protector. Hiruzen, is it you? You've gotten quite old. Hashirama said, as they both walked out of the coffins with shaky steps. Well brother, Uzumaki-chan did call him old man, Tobirama said, while Jiraiya's Sarutobi and Orochimaru's eyes widened at the name. You know Uzumaki-kun? Sarutobi asked, shocked. But how is that possible? Sorry, that's on a need-to-know basis. Hashirama said. That's what the hell did Uzumaki do during the break? Jiraiya thought to himself. Well, let's resume this battle, and get your deaths underway. Orochimaru said, stepping forward with two in his hand with red seal tags on the end. With calm assurance he placed a seal kunai in each summoned past Hokage's heads before stepping back to watch, as they came fully to life. Inwardly still thinking about how the Sho and Nidaime Hokages knew the Kyuubi brat. In a matter of seconds, both men looked as young as the day they each passed from the mortal plane, while everyone else watched on, as tears appeared in Hiruzen's eyes. Soon enough they were both fit for combat, and got right into it by slowly walking forward. Without much warning Hashirama ran straight forward, while Tobirama hopped up on the second roof, as he ran at the same pace. Sarutobi dodged a few kunai that were thrown ahead of Hashirama, who demonstrated his mastery of Taijutsu by attacking with powerful kicks which Sarutobi deflected, before knocking his predecessor away just as Orochimaru appeared with Kusanagi already in mid-swing. Using his natural agility gained from training with the Minky contract, Sarutobi weaved around each swing before catching Orochimaru on a backswing, and breaking his arm at the joint, before throwing the snake-themed man away, as Tobirama flipped over him, and lunged forward from the moment he landed. Jiraiya intercepted the Nidaime, and the two white-haired shinobi engaged in a fierce Taijutsu exchange. Tobirama caught a fast left from Jiraiya, before throwing a punch of his own that he ducked under, and struck him with an chakra-powered uppercut to the chin, followed by a Rasengan to the chest blowing the man away. Tobirama recovered pretty quickly, and the wound healed before he rushed Jiraiya, and sent a punch to Jiraiya's face which he parried. Then he clutched his arm, stepped inside his guard, and kicked Tobirama in the gut hard, and sent him flying. Tobirama landed near his brother and Orochimaru, as Sarutobi ran through hand signs. Fire style. Dragon flame bullets. Sarutobi breathed in deeply and filled his lungs with chakra mixed air and expelled a large stream of fire at his three opponents, pushing a little more chakra into the to superheat his attack, which barreled at the two Senju brothers and Snake Sanin. Just as it looked as if the technique would finish them off, Tobirama went through hand signs of his own. Water release. Water encampment. While spitting out a large amount of water, Tobirama quickly formed the water into a wall as the fire collided with its surface, only to be extinguished due to elemental advantage going to water. Then he performed more seals just as his first died down. Water release. Water shockwave. This caused a pillar of water to just appear around them before exploding and rushing forward at Sarutobi, who saw this and ran through another set of seals of his own. Earth release. Earth. While gathering chakra in his body again, Hiruzen spit out a stream of mud just in front of him that instantly sprang up and became a hardened wall of earth. The water slammed into the wall and was directed to either side. Jiraiya wasted no time running up the earthen wall to the top, where he flew through a set of seals, while her chakra searched for the fire release. Flame dragon technique. Manipulating his chakra, Jiraiya took a deep breath and unleashed a large fire dragon as it flew up before barreling down towards the three fighters. The fire dragon opened its moorite as it was on top of the two cages. Of course they dodged the attack, but Jiraiya just decided to send the Orochimaru's way as Sarutobi ran through hand signs for earth release. Earth flow river, which caused the ground beneath his student's feet to become a river of mud that threw him off balance as the fire dragon clamped its maw around him and drove towards the wall of the barrier. As the two were regrouping from Jiraiya's attack, Hiruzen performed another round of hand signs as he ran up his earth wall. When he reached the top, Hiruzen stomped on top of the wall as he held the hand sign for dragon. Earth release. Earth dragon. From the side of the earth wall sprouted a massive earth dragon that opened its mouth wide and began to fire highly concentrated globs of mud. Jiraiya, seeing this, decided to use another fire. He spat out an orb of fire with great accuracy to increase the potency of Sarutobi's attack. The now flame-covered earth dragon hit both cages head-on, as it caused Hashirama to be slammed into the barrier where he burned alive, Tobirama to lose his right arm and left leg. "I see you still have some fight in your sensei," said Jiraiya, not dropping his guard while scanning their teamwork against three opponents completely their equals. "Yeah, although age is catching up to me," Sarutobi groaned in old age, as he quickly popped his soldier pill to regain some of his lost chakra. They both watched as the dead cages reformed right before their eyes, and Orochimaru slowly rose from the ground with a look of fury on his face. "Enough playing around. Kill them now," Orochimaru snarled, as Tobirama raced forward while Hiroshima performed hand signs. "Time to get back into the battle again," Sarutobi said, as he went through hand signs of his own while Jiraiya ran forward to meet Tobirama. To those watching outside the barrier, both the Anmu squad and the Jonin senseis were truly impressed with such a battle they were witnessing. As they witnessed the power Sarutobi Hiruzen still held at his fingertips despite his age, as he matched his old senseis, pound for pound alongside Jiraiya, who was truly showing why he was a Sannin. The battle between five shinobi had reached an agitated state, as Hashirama used his wood release secret technique. Nativity of a world of trees to alter the battle site by causing a rapid growth of large tree roots around Sarutobi's earth wall. While he lay pinned by the trees, Sarutobi managed to summon Monkey King Enma to his side. After exchanging a few blows with the two summoned fighters, he transformed into the legendary adamantine staff and freed Sarutobi before he went on the offensive against Orochimaru, who spit up the Kusanagi again. The entire time he faced off with Orochimaru and Hashirama on occasion, Sarutobi was thankful that Jiraiya was inside that barrier at his aid, as he kept Hashirama and Tobirama at bay enough. The battle seemed to be even enough until Tobirama cast the Bringer Vignestiknikui over both Sarutobi and Jiraiya's side. They managed to dispel the by hitting Tobirama, but the damage had been done. Both of them received numerous blows which took their toll, as their enemies never tired. Jiraiya and Sarutobi were on their last legs, having been battling for an hour and a half, which in the shinobi world was a feat in itself. Sarutobi was midway through the seal sequence for the Shiki Fuin, when the sound of thunder caught everyone's attention, even those fighting all over the village, as the sky began to darken with black storm clouds and red lightning. Those of the Leaf got ready to fight in case this was another player in Orochimaru's forces, while Orochimaru himself was wondering what Konoha had hidden to oppose him. Those on the cage booth were especially curious, as a black and red wolf made of energy struck the barrier's ceiling and broke through. When it touched the ground, the wolf kicked up dust from its power. Everyone inside that barrier were on edge, none more so than Orochimaru. He was questioning what could have the ability to pierce his barrier, when even Konoha's finest themselves couldn't even do so. The answer came in the form of Uzumaki, who stood tall while taking in the area around, as his mask caused a shiver to run down everyone's spine, while Tensuma Samyujutsu on his side pulsed. He focused on the show, and Nidaime Hokage's, who he grew to see as older brothers during his time training Dan, can't believe he would summon those two Uzumaki thoughts before his mask faded away. While this was going on, Sarutobi took that as his chance to attack, and used shadow clones to create 2 clones. Then he ran through a set of seals, and clapped his hands at the end. Shiki Fujin whispered. Behind the original Sarutobi a large pale white figure appeared. His face was purple, as well as demonic-looking in appearance. It had long spiky black hair, and wore a robe of the same color that hid everything from view except its hands and head. In its largely fanged mouth sat a knife, and along its left arm sat prayer beads. This was a being of great power beyond mortal comprehension, for this was Makoto's shinigami form. As the shinigami settled behind Sarutobi, her new aura washed over the entire cage booth, causing everyone there to feel its effects. Or in Uzumaki's case actually smile. My Uzumaki-kun, I'm impressed you managed to get past my seal barrier. Tell me, did you enjoy the gift I gave you back in the Forest of Death? Orochimaru said, greeting Uzumaki, as he finally broke the silence after watching his sensei perform, but wasn't worried. I've long since removed your little gift, and now I've come for your head, pedophile, Uzumaki said, as he twirled his sword in his hand. Really? And just how do you think you will go about doing that? Orochimaru asked, as he crossed his arms. Before Uzumaki could answer, Sarutobi burst into action, as he raced towards his 2 mentors, and Orochimaru himself. His clones managed to catch his senseis by surprise. While the original Sarutobi launched himself at his ex-student, Orochimaru tried to use the Kusanagi to defend himself, but Sarutobi would have none of that. As he knocked the blade from the Sanin's grasp before grabbing Orochimaru by the shoulders. In that instant the Shinigami plunged her hand through Sarutobi, and entered Orochimaru, and took hold of his soul. This move revealed the entity to the snake Sanin, who was instantly surprised. Stay where you are, you'd only get in the way with that injury. Uzumaki told Jiraiya before he could attempt getting up, and jumped to Sarutobi's aid. Over with Sarutobi, his clones managed to seal Hashirama and Tobirama into themselves, and Makoto's belly. All that was left was Orochimaru himself, as he was being held in place while his soul was being pulled out his stomach. Our time in this world has reached its end, my wayward student. Sarutobi said with a strain of concentration in his voice. Sorry sensei, but I have plans that don't involve death at the moment. You can take the trip yourself. Orochimaru replied with a smirk, as he used his fingers to coax the Kusanagi from its place behind Sarutobi. The blade rattled for the first few tries until it lifted off the ground, and raced towards Sarutobi's unguarded back. The Kusanagi would have struck through, if it wasn't for Uzumaki who caught it by the hilt. Soon after, the Kusanagi began to shake before it dispersed in a cloud of smoke. It seems that the Kusanagi doesn't appreciate you touching it with Uzumaki-kun, then again it is expected that only I could handle such a sword. Orochimaru said, speaking, as if he wasn't on the verge of having his soul ripped from his body. Uzumaki just ignored him, and turned his attention to Hiruzen. How much chakra do you have left, old man? Uzumaki said with an even tone. Even with you blocking the Kusanagi, I still don't have enough strength to fully seal my wayward student with me in the Shinigami's belly. I'm sorry I won't be around to watch you grow strong, my boy. Sarutobi admitted with a strained voice, as he was sapping all his strength. However, he still managed to smile. Sai, you'll be with me in spirit, Uzumaki said, as a tear streamed down his face, as he placed a hand on Sarutobi's shoulder, and gave him some chakra. Always. Uzumaki, I just wanted to say that I'm sorry about the life you've lived. Hiruzen said while the spectators listened. And you finally took off your mask, and are currently in the process of showing the world what you are made of. Minato and Kushina will be proud of you, I know I am. Sarutobi started with a smile before turning back to his students. This will be the end of your ambition, Orochimaru. I will take away what you prided in the most, your ability to harness ninjutsu. For your arms have now become forfeit. Shiki Fuin. Sarutobi yelled, as he pulled Orochimaru's soul arms free, and held them taut, as Makoto grasped her knife in hand, and severed the arms, which caused an echo of pain in the air. The soul zoomed into Sarutobi with a finality, as the seal for the Shiki Fuin appeared on his stomach where the cut soul entered. Orochimaru looked down in pain, as his arms fell to his sides, and slowly became lifeless, and numb due to the "My arms, old man, what have you done?" Orochimaru yelled, all composure forgotten in the face of losing the use of his arms, only to jump back due to experience rather than line of sight, as he dodged the blade of Tensuma Samyujutsu, as it was wielded by Uzumaki, who tried to end the life of the Sannin right then. Drop the barrier, we are pulling out, this invasion has failed. Orochimaru groaned in pain after speaking above his subordinates, as they cried out for him. Dropping the barrier, the Sound Four rushed to their master's side. Teaya and Jirobo each took an arm, then started jumping across the roof while Seiken and Kidomaru covered their escape. The Anbu that were waiting for a chance to get into the action, chased after the group of 5 with full intent on stopping them. Kidomaru turned in midair, and fired a net made of spider webbing at them, ensnaring them instantly. Sarutobi watched his once beloved student flee the walls of Konoha. As he fell to his knees he closed his eyes, since Makoto pulled his soul out, completing the sealing. As more Anbu and some Jonin started to show up at the cage booth to assist, they found Uzumaki and Jiraiya looking down at Hiruzen Sarutobi's dead body. The Jonin senseis looked at Kakashi with narrowed eyes, as they saw what Uzumaki predicted had come to pass. Uzumaki sighed, and turned around to go retrieve the fire daimyo. Uzumaki turned to see Jiraiya looking at him seriously. Where have you been for the past month? Clan secret. Uzumaki said before he vanished in a Tsunade, leaving behind an angry Sannin and Copy Nin, while the others looked confused. A week later. It's been a week since the invasion, and 2 days since Hiruzen's funeral. Uzumaki and Co. were in the council towers. The only damage done to the building was the entire roof was missing, showing the clear blue sky. Currently we find Uzumaki, the other rookies, and the Jonin senseis standing in front of the council, Fire Daimyo and Jiraiya, as they get prepared to see who was promoted. Shikamaru Nara, you've been promoted because you showed great strategy in your match. You are hereby granted the rank of Chunin. The Fire Daimyo said while Shikamaru muttered. Troublesome, he accepted the Chunin flak jacket while his team and father smiled. Uzumaki looked around the room and saw the Uzumaki swirl on various pieces of clothing and scowled slightly unnoticed by everyone. Uzumaki Namikaze, you showed that you can keep a clear head in a situation you've never been in. You came to rescue me alone and had your clones protect me while you went back to help defend the village. I hereby grant you the rank of Special Jonin, the daimyo said while everyone was shocked and Sasuke glared in rage. Before the daimyo could continue, the civilian council shouted in protest. Silence. The daimyo shouted at Uzumaki, the next person that speaks out of turn, to kill them. The daimyo said while Uzumaki smirked sadistically. Now then, as you are the last member of your clan, you are to have multiple wives, and you will have a seat on the shinobi council. The daimyo explained while Uzumaki nodded. Daimyo-sama, will be too much to ask that the Uzumaki swirl be removed from the wardrobe? Uzumaki asked while everyone looked at him shocked. Sure, the daimyo said, smirking. Sakuya Haruno, mother of Sakura Haruno, couldn't take it anymore and shrieked, you can't do. She didn't get the time to finish, as the daimyo nodded to Uzumaki, who smirked and pointed at Sakuya, and she was pushed back before she floated in the air, struggling to reach the ground, as Uzumaki lifted his hand and she flew into the sky. Uzumaki. Stop it, she's my mother, Sakura pleaded while everyone looked on intrigued with what would have happened. Your mother has just disobeyed the fire daimyo. As a resident of the fire country, it is my duty to complete his orders to the best of my abilities. Uzumaki said coldly before he turned to Sakura's mother, who was screaming. Everyone watched as he clenched his fist and Sakuya Haruno exploded in front of their eyes. No? Sakura screamed and cried while the rookies looked shocked that Uzumaki would do something like that. Now then, Uzumaki, as per agreement with your father, you will be giving traveling rights, as you have betrothals in other villages, in hopes of them becoming future allies. The daimyo said. This time the entire civilian council exploded again. Before, the elders, clan heads, Jiraiya, daimyo, and Jonin senseis never thought they'd see each other again. Uzumaki took out a 3-pronged kunai and threw it as they multiplied and vanished in a black flash. He appeared back in the same spot before the civilian councilors' heads fell to the floor. There was only silence in the room before the rookies, even Sasuke puked everywhere. Orochimaru and Jiraiya whispered before the clan heads all thought back to what Uzumaki said before he ended his first match. Flash. What happened to you? You were nothing like this a month ago. Neji asked, trying to think of a strategy. Oh, I've always been like this. You see, I've come across a very precious memory of the events of my birth which lead to the life I have lived, and my mask needed to go. What you see here is the real Uzumaki. I am Uzumaki Namikaze, son of Kashina Uzumaki, and Minato Namikaze Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune, and if you don't like it you can suck my D. Uzumaki yelled before he vanished in a burst of speed. Flash end. The clan heads had their own thoughts. Troublesome blondes, thought Shikaku before he placed his head down. Lad, I've never treated him wrong. Thought Choza before he unsealed a bag of chips. I hope Ino will stop treating him badly, or she will be in danger. Thought Inoichi, as he looked to his daughter. So Hinata finally did something right for a change. Thought Hisashi, already scheming up ways to get Uzumaki to Hyuga into Uzumaki's clan. My bugs are afraid of him, it would be logical to not anger him, thought Shibi, as his insects buzzed. He's the ultimate alpha male, I wonder if he's interested in older women. Thought Sum, shivering, and looking at Uzumaki in lust, which she noticed, and smirked slightly. Now Uzumaki, I want you and Jiraiya-san to go bring Tsunade send you here to be the Godin Hokage. Also when you return me, you and Tsunade are going to have a talk. The fire daimyo said, smirking. Next day, Uzumaki and Jiraiya were walking down a road side by side while in the middle of a heated conversation. They had just left the village behind for the surrounding embrace of nature as they began to search for Tsunade. I told you that I was sorry, what more do you want? Jiraiya asked. If you want my trust, you're going to have to work for it, Jiraiya-san, Uzumaki said while he walked along. Alright. From what I can tell you're very strong, even if I don't know how you got this strong in a month. Anyway, there is a group called Akatsuki that plan to capture all the for what purpose I have no idea, so be on the lookout, said Jiraiya seriously. Some time later Uzumaki was walking up the main street of a town with Jiraiya. "We should begin the search for Tsunade," Uzumaki advised, as he continued up the road. "I agree, we should find a hotel for the time being," Jiraiya said before he was cut off by a feminine voice. "Excuse me, but I was wondering if either of you could help me." Both Jiraiya and Uzumaki turned to the left to see a very beautiful woman in a short one-piece dress that pushed up her ample chest. She had long flowing black hair that rested just above her butt, and wore a pair of high-heel sandals with some makeup to accentuate her features. All this was of course too much for Jiraiya, as he rushed to the unknown woman's side. "Oh Uzumaki, why don't you go find us a hotel to stay in while I help this young woman with her problem?" Jiraiya said with a smile, as the woman laced her arms around Jiraiya's right bicep. Uzumaki said nothing, as shook his head, and took Jiraiya's travel pack from him, and watched, as Jiraiya went off with the woman, all the while giggling lecherously. When the perverted hermit was out of sight, Uzumaki knew that he was being watched, but didn't act on it just yet, as he decided to have his pursuers reveal themselves in time. So he just set out to find a hotel to stay in for the time being. The moment Uzumaki disappeared from general view, two mysterious figures appeared on top of a nearby building. "You sure he's here somewhere?" a large gruff voice asked with a hint of glee in it. "Yes, I'm sure. Besides, our informant in Kano has said as much, that they headed in this direction, so this is our best bet for the moment. Let's go." A softer voice answered while they both scanned the streets below before disappearing via Shunshin. Unknown location. Orochimaru was sitting alone in a dark room with 2 candles for illumination, as he focused on keeping himself from crying out in pain again, as the effects of Sarutobi's was taking its toll on his now useless arms once more. "The pain has become unbearable. Damn you to hell, Sarutobi-sensei. Damn you, and that of yours. And Uzumaki-kun, you shall pay for stopping my plan to crush the leaf, and then rebuild it in my image." Orochimaru was cut off from further thoughts by Kabuto entering the room with a small smile on his face. "Orochimaru-sama, how are you feeling today?" Kabuto asked, but only received a harsh glare for his efforts. "Don't patronize me, Kabuto. The pain in my arms has returned with double the intensity." Orochimaru all but growled at his second in command while he once again tried to move his lifeless fingers again. "That's because you've stopped taking the medicine I've been preparing for you," Kabuto pointed out, as he poured a fresh cup of the mixture that would bring temporary relief before standing at his master's side. "The problem isn't the medicine, but the type of medicine I've been getting," Orochimaru replied simply, as a sinister smile slowly began to form on his face. "What do you mean, Orochimaru-sama?" Kabuto asked, as he helped his master take the medicine, which caused the pedophile to grimace at its taste before continuing, although he kept the veiled anger out of his voice, at basically being told that his healing methods weren't good enough. "What I mean is that I know of a way to get my arms working again. We seek out my old teammate Tsunade Senju. She's known as the mistress of modern medicine, as we know it in the shinobi world today. If anyone can fix my arms, it's her. Kabuto leaves me, and uses our contacts to locate Tsunade's whereabouts," Orochimaru said, as he drank a glass of water. "As you requested, Orochimaru-sama," Kabuto said with a bow before he walked out the room to perform his given task. "Soon I shall have my arms back, and will crush the leaf for all time," Orochimaru thought, as a snake slithered into his lap while he licked his lips in anticipation of what was to come soon enough. With Uzumaki. It's been an hour since Uzumaki and Jiraiya separated, and Uzumaki decided to look for the perv. The moment Uzumaki entered the club, the women saw him, they swooned, and dumped the Sannin right there, and then. They all hugged Uzumaki, who blushed, as they started kissing him. It was a club where the women didn't kiss unless they wanted to. Jiraiya always went to these clubs, and they never kissed, and humped him. "Uzumaki-kun, here's our number, you can call us anytime, and we mean anytime," said the girls. Uzumaki just smiled a bit, and accepted the numbers, and that was it for the Sannin, who fumed. "Why, thank you, ladies," Uzumaki said, smiling. "Uzumaki," Jiraiya growled. As he left an hour later, Uzumaki found him. As they walked, Uzumaki accidentally bumped into someone who almost stumbled and fell, but Uzumaki grabbed her. "Sorry," Uzumaki said to a raven-haired beautiful woman, making Jiraiya go in pervert mode. "Hot take alert," Jiraiya drooled. The woman looked up at Uzumaki, and blushed. "And no, it's alright," Uzumaki smiled. "Something's not right about this girl." The woman just blushed dreamily, which caused Jiraiya to scowl. "Damn that brat." The Sannin could not let Uzumaki take the spotlight again. Before Uzumaki said anything, the Sannin got some money out of his wallet, and pushed it on Uzumaki's chest. "Uzumaki, here's the money, go have fun." That's the second woman he's ditched before, Uzumaki thought, as he headed back to the hotel. With Uzumaki. Uzumaki sighed, as he sat down on his bed. Jiraiya looked like he wasn't even trying to find his Tsu-chan. "I should have gone by myself." Laying down on a bed, Uzumaki sighed. Uzumaki suddenly smiles. Sarutobi hears and died, and he wasn't there for his funeral. In fact, he didn't care all that much with all the lies and secrets. He just had to keep up appearances. Uzumaki grew bored, as he started thinking of a trip he took during his training. Flashback. In the center of a large seal, stood an old white-haired man. He wore a white coat with violet swirl on the back accompanied by 9. Surrounding him was a much younger version of the Bijus. I will not live long anymore. Shukaku, Matatabi, Isobu, Son Goku, Kakuro, Seiken, Chame, Jayuki, Kurama. Even if you are separated now you will always be together, and the day you will return to be one will. He stopped and looked at his creations. Every one of you has a name in a different form from before, different from when you were all sealed within me. Follow your rightful path searching for what true strength is until that day, he continued. Kurama and few others began to tear up. Before a flash of light in the sky caught their attention. When the light died down, something fell to the ground kicking up dust. When the dust faded, standing there was Uzumaki, who was shaking his head mumbling. Damn Kami, she did that on purpose. He grumbled as he looked up and saw the Biju and the Rakuto Sennin looking at him. Hey old man, Uzumaki waved while they crouched down to protect their father in case something happens. Hello who are you? The Rakuto Sennin asked curiously. Well, I'm your descendant Uzumaki. Uzumaki introduced himself as his eyes bleed into his Rinnegan while everyone's eyes whitened. How is that possible? He asked. Well, you might want to get a comfortable long story. Uzumaki said, as he sat down, and proceeded to tell the Rakuto Sennin, and what happens after he dies. The Rakuto Sennin grits his teeth, as he hears what becomes of the world, and his eldest son's actions, while they glare at the ground hearing how they got sealed into humans to use, as weapons. Why are you here then? Rakuto asked suddenly. I'm here for them. Uzumaki said seriously, pointing at the while their eyes whiting. What you just said. I know, but if I take them with me then they won't be able to be used as weapons. I'll take them back to my dimension, as summoning animals. Uzumaki explained, as their eyes sparkled in realization. But your forms will change except for Kurama's. This is up to you guys, Uzumaki said, as a huge scroll appeared in front of him, and he unraveled it showing 9 squares on it. Place your hands on the square if you accept. They turned to Rakuto, who looked at them, and smiled. This is your decision, choose wisely. I doubt you'll get another chance like this again. Rakuto advised, as they looked at each other, and nodded their heads, and walked up to the scroll. Shukaku accepted to be a member of this summoning contract. Shukaku said, as he placed his paw on the first square, and they watched, as his form turned into that of a coyote. I, Matatabi, accept to be a member of this summoning contract. Matatabi said, as she placed her paw on the second square, and they watched, as her form turned into that of a lioness. I, Isobu, accept to be a member of this summoning contract. Isobu said, as he placed his paw on the third square, and they watched, as his form turned into that of a dragon. I, Son Goku, accept to be a member of this summoning contract. Said Son Goku, as he placed his hand on the fourth square, and they watched, as his form went from monkey to gorilla. I, Kakuro, accept to be a member of this summoning contract. Kakuro said, as he placed his hand on the fifth square, and they watched, as his form turned into that of a panther. I, Seiken, accept to be a member of this summoning contract. Seiken said, as she placed her hand on the sixth square, and they watched, as her form changed into that of a tiger. I, Chame, accept to be a member of this summoning contract. Said Chame, as she placed her paw on the seventh square, and they watched, as her form turned into that of a cheetah. I, Jayuki, accept to be a member of this summoning contract. Said Jayuki, as he placed his paw on the eighth square, and they watched, as his form changed into that of a wolf. I, Kurama, accept to be a member of this summoning contract. Said Kurama, as he placed his paw on the last square. Thanks, now, time to train you guys. Uzumaki said, as he started to explain what he will be teaching them. And flashback. He was brought out of his thoughts when a knock came at his door. Is that Jiraiya? Wondered Uzumaki, as he stood up. The door knocked again, and Uzumaki grunted, alright, I'm coming. As he peered through the hole, and saw them. He opened the door, and sighed, I didn't expect you back so early. Uzumaki stopped, as he saw that it wasn't Jiraiya. Inspecting them, he saw 2 people wearing black cloaks with red clouds. He saw a shorter man with red eyes, and a bigger man with a shark face, and a massive sword. Come with us, Uzumaki-kun, Itachi said in an emotionless voice. Meanwhile in Tanzakugai, the blonde woman tapped her foot impatiently on the ground, as her companion looked at the castle. Come on, Shizune, let's go. Tanzaku Castle has such a fabulous view even from the ground, huh, Lady Tsunade? Shizune said. Tsunade glanced at the castle, and said hastily, don't waste any more time, we must get out of here, Shizune, as soon as possible. Can we stay a bit longer? Don't you see all this beautiful scenery, and it's for free? Said the black-haired woman in protest. Just then the castle suddenly started to crumble, and the smoke cleared to reveal Orochimaru along with Kabuto beside him. Orochimaru gave Tsunade a smirk. I finally found you, Tsunade. The two jumped down from the summoned snake, and Tsunade greeted him. It's been a while, Orochimaru. I have looked all over for you, replied Orochimaru. Now what do you want from me this time? I know you didn't come here to talk about the past, Tsunade said. Straight to the point, as always still, eh? Very well, I have a small favor to ask of you, Tsunade, Orochimaru said. His hand looks like he decided to mess with Kushina's ghost and paid the price. Tsunade thought. Tsunade-sama, you should know by now what is wrong with Orochimaru-sama if it is you. We need your expertise, Tsunade-sama, said Kabuto. Tsunade made a hand to shoo them away. Why should I help the snake freak find another medical specialist like that other guy that I hear usually stitches you up? I don't do freelance work, and I'm on vacation. By the way, who the hell are you? I am Kabuto, and I am afraid that we can't do that. You are one of the Sannin, and the most powerful of them all in terms of physical strength, said Kabuto. What do you want? Said Tsunade. I want you to join me, Tsunade. So together, we can destroy the Leaf Village, said Orochimaru. Why do I want to do that when my last precious person is there? Tsunade glared at him thinking about Uzumaki. Whoever he or she is not your real family. We both lost your real family because of Konoha. Me, I lost the power to gain immortality because of that fool of a sensei. You lost two of your most beloved because of Konoha's actions. Those were certainly horrible ways to die. Orochimaru smirked. Tsunade-sama, don't listen to him, Shizune yelled. Calm down, Shizune humph, you haven't changed a bit, Orochimaru. You know who I am, and you know that mentioning those two around me are taboo, remember? Don't kid with me. She lost her fake smile, and pounded the wall behind her, making a huge crater, as she said, I'll kill you, you bastard. Tsunade said. What monster strength? Kabuto thought. We didn't come here to fight, only to negotiate. Kabuto said. I already said it once, and I don't want anything to do with you. Now get out of my sight. Tsunade looked at him angrily. It is not like it is a one-way bargain. Let's make a deal. Kabuto tried to reason. I don't deal with criminals. You have 5 seconds to leave, or I will kill you. 5, 4, 3, Tsunade said. Please calm down, our offer is not probably is that bad, said Kabuto. 2-1 Tsunade continued getting ready to fight. Orochimaru chose at that time to say, I can bring back your brother and your lover back to life with the kenjutsu that I have developed. Tsunade's eyes widened, but then went back to normal when she remembered. I'll get so strong you won't ever have to feel the pain of lose again, Tsunade-chan, that's my promise of a lifetime, Datdeo. Uzumaki-kun, she thought with a small smile. Zero, she said, as she attacked both of them, but they dodged her fists, which left a crater where her fist hit. Don't you want to meet them again, Tsunade? Orochimaru asked, surprised. I said no. Tsunade said, as she punched the ground, and the split into forcing Orochimaru to dodge again. Don't be a fool. Orochimaru said. I would rather be a fool than a traitor. Tsunade said. Fine, I leave for now, but I will be back again in 7 days, and you will come with me whether you want to or not, the snake Sannin replied, as they both vanished. Let's go, Shizune, Tsunade said. With Uzumaki. Enlighten me, as to why I would walk off with 2 S-ranked ronin such as Kisame Hashigaki, former shinobi of Kurigakure, and one of the former 7 swordsmen of the mist, and what I can assume is his partner Itachi Uchiha, former shinobi of Konohagakure, and an ex-Anbu captain. Uzumaki said calmly while still looking at the 2 uninvited guests. Looks like somebody did their homework, Itachi. Kisame joked while his hand was twitched to reach for the sword on his back. It's called reading a bingo book, you freak, and the fact that he was my mother's student, of course I know who he is, Uzumaki replied calmly, as he narrowed his eyes at Itachi. A breath hitched when he heard that while Kisame become bristled at his off-handed comment about his appearance. Easy, Kisame, Uzumaki-kun, I implore that it would be wise if you came with us right now. Itachi said, as he held a hand in front of Kisame before turning his attention back on Uzumaki, who was pensive for the moment. Fine, give me a moment. Uzumaki said, as he closed the door slowly. It was only their experience as shinobi that allowed Itachi and Kisame to jump out of the way as the door came flying at them as Uzumaki walked out into the large hallway. You are both fools if you think I'm going anywhere with you. Uzumaki said as he cracked his knuckles and Tensuma Samujutsu appeared in his hand. So he thinks he's got a sword, okay. Itachi, let me take him. Kisame asked as he stepped forward while pulling his bandage-covered sword from his back. Very well, but be quick about it, we already wasted enough time with the other jonin. Quickly incapacitate Uzumaki so we can go. Itachi said, as he stepped back to allow his partner room to work. I can't see him with my Sharingan, how's that possible? He thought of the clash of steel rings through the large hallway. When he looked back he saw something he would forever remember. Uzumaki was holding Tensuma Samujutsu in front of him, holding back a struggling Kisame back from completing a downward slash at him with just one hand. Uzumaki sighed before pushing Kisame back, making the shark man skid a few feet away from him. After this, Uzumaki appeared behind Kisame. The man went wide-eyed, fast. He twirled around in time to block a slash at his back, but the ground beneath him shattered into a crater. This got a shocked look from Itachi, and he wondered how strong that attack was. What the hell is going on? Kisame thought before he let down his guard and jumped back in time. He looked at Uzumaki before charging at him at his top speeds. This left after images in the hallway. Uzumaki saw his speed and raised Tensuma Jutsu in time to parry a slash from Kisame before he jumped into the air, dodging a decapitating slice from behind. He narrowed his eyes a little, seeing no movement from him before spinning around, knocking away Kisum's attempted slash upon his back. Uzumaki then took that chance to bring down Tensumujutsu, hammering it down on Kisum Samehada, making the man plummet to the ground. After this, Uzumaki went headfirst before landing on the ground, creating yet another crater. He saw and looked at Kisum's prone form before it poofed into smoke. Kisum appeared behind him midway into attack. That's when Uzumaki appeared behind Kisum, making the man go wide-eyed. He's faster. That's when he felt something going down his left arm. He looked down to see a red lung gash, and in that second blood spurted out. He widened his eyes like Itachi's of how he just did that. Gah! He grunted before he was on the receiving end of a kick, knocking him into a wall. He grunted once more, and looked up to see Uzumaki's shoe coming to his face, as he shunched into Itachi in time, as Uzumaki's kick put a hole in the wall. Both warriors returned to battle with the intent of hacking each other to pieces, but soon Kisum found himself receiving more cuts on his body than he ever did, and Itachi was about to step in, and told his partner two things occurred. First was the arrival of Jiraiya on the back of a toad named Gama, with the woman from earlier sling over his shoulder unconscious. When Itachi inquired how Jiraiya found out about the genjutsu used on her, the Sannin replied that he saw through their ruse, as women never expressed such an open interest in him like that. The second occurrence was the arrival of Itachi's younger brother Sasuke, who claimed he was here to finally avenge their clan by killing Itachi. Like that would ever happen, idiot. Uzumaki snorted to himself about Sasuke, as he and Kisum halted in their match to watch the two Uchiha brothers duke it out. Two Sharingans flared to life, one fully mature, and one not, as Sasuke powered up his Chidori, and ran at his brother at a turtle's pace, all the while screaming at the top of his lungs. Itachi, who had turned around to face his little brother, smacked away, as if it was nothing to him, which it was, and the lightning attack ended up exploding in the wall near an empty suite. When the dust cleared, it could be seen that Itachi had a firm grip on Sasuke's wrist, which he snapped instantly, and it caused the younger Uchiha to howl in pain, before being punched down the hall to hit the wall, before sliding to the ground in a slump. Brutal. Oh well, the runt should have known better. Now then, where were we? Kisum said, as he lunged at Uzumaki, who once again was fighting the ex-Kirinin, as they continued their dance of blades, with Kisum having a hard time. Jiraiya was at a loss of what he should do. As he sat on the sidelines, he was watching, as his estranged godson not only held his own against one of the infamous 7 swordsmen, but was pushing the larger man back with ease. Then there was Itachi, who was beating the crap out of Sasuke with minimal effort on his end. Man, what in the hell has Kakashi been teaching this kid, or lack thereof, cause he's getting his ass handed to him by Itachi? Jiraiya muttered, as he watched Itachi pick Sasuke up from the slump, after he viciously hit the young Uchiha in the gut with a simple punch. Itachi slammed Sasuke against the wall, and began to berate his little brother for being weak before activating his Mangekyou Sharingan, and then using his Tsukiyomi for the second time today, with Kakashi being the first. Itachi then forced his brother to relive the systematic slaughter of their clansmen all over again, which caused Sasuke to let out blood-curdling screams at the event. This action prompted Jiraiya into action, as he put the woman on his shoulders propped up against the wall, before he began blurring through hand signs before kneeling down, and slapping both palms against the ground. Summoning. Toad Mouth Trap, Jiraiya shouted. A large plume of smoke emanated from where Jiraiya's hands were before large amounts of red fleshy substance began to cover the walls, floor, and ceiling of the floor they were all on. This maneuver did not go unnoticed by Kisum and Itachi, who glanced as it took effect. I gotta say, kid, you've managed to last again so far, but it's time to end this scuffle of ours. Kisum said, as he praised Uzumaki for standing equal to him during this fun time they were having. Scuffle? Please, I'm whooping your ass. Uzumaki said, as Kisum growled, but I agree, let's end this, but I regret to inform you this won't end the way you envision. Uzumaki replied, as he angled the tip of Tensumujutsu towards Kisum's head. Before the shark-themed man could think as to what Uzumaki meant, Kisum's entire face became a bloody mess, as Uzumaki fired 20 successful punches so fast that it looked like one was fired to the ex-Kiri shinobi's face. As Kisum stumbled backwards and grasped his face from the sudden attack, it was all the time Uzumaki needed to shunpo forward with his free right hand already in motion. The wet squelching reached everyone's ears, well, all except Sasuke, who was unconscious from the mental torture, but he wouldn't count anyway. Jiraiya and Itachi looked to where the sound originated from. Even Kisum looked down to the sound, and all three men were completely shocked at what they saw, for there on the ground in a growing pool of blood lay Kisum's entire left arm. Looking up further, they all could see Uzumaki in a crouch with his now clawed hand out, dripping fresh blood that wasn't his own. Finally, the shock of it all registered to Kisum, who by now had placed Samehada on his back to grip his still bleeding socket, where his arm used to be. Nice, Uzumaki, I'll take it from here now, Jiraiya said, as he snapped from his stupor to command the inner toad's stomach to do his bidding in capturing Itachi and Kisum. It's time to go now, Itachi said while expressing urgency, as much as he could with such a calm voice, as tentacles from the stomach raced forward to attack, as Itachi and Kisum unstuck themselves and took off. A huge explosion reached Jiraiya's and Uzumaki's ears that had them racing up the hallway. Turning the hallway, they saw a hole in the wall with Kisame and Itachi fleeing. "Are you alright?" Jiraiya asked Uzumaki as they approached the hole. "Yes, but I'd be more concerned with that hole at the end of the hall," Uzumaki pointed out as he made his way to the hole with Jiraiya at his side the entire way. When they got there, they were both witness to a rare sight. There were black flames burning strongly in a ring around the hole, with no signs of stopping anytime soon. To think they were able to break through this, Jiraiya mused as he approached the flames and began studying them. So he used a Materasu, Uzumaki thought, as he watched as Jiraiya sealed the flames using the fire sealing method. Jiraiya and Uzumaki watched in reflective silence as the chakra used for the sealing rose from the scroll and encircled the hole while covering the flames before pulling them inside the scroll at a moderate pace. When the sealing was complete, the kanji for fire appeared in the center of the array before Jiraiya scooped up the scroll and stored it on his person before he and his godson turned to the broken Sasuke. As the flesh on the walls let Sasuke down, Jiraiya found himself kicked in the nose. Couple minutes later, Jiraiya was furious as he stuffed some tissue in his nose to stem the nosebleed. Thanks to Guy, the eccentric Jonin had leaped through the hole made by Itachi and Kisame while crying dynamic entry as he performed a flying kick. After a few minutes of clearing the air, Guy was apologizing profusely as he hoisted the unconscious form of Sasuke onto his back. "Look, it's alright, just get Sasuke back to Konoha as fast as you can. He needs to be looked over for mental damage from a powerful genjutsu," Jiraiya instructed Jonin. "Of course, Jiraiya-sama, but that comment makes me wonder if it was the same genjutsu that struck Kakashi down," Guy pondered. "So Kakashi was attacked as well?" Jiraiya inquired before Guy recounted the battle that took place in Konoha before he showed up here. "I see. Well, that just means we definitely need to succeed in our mission to locate Tsunade," Jiraiya said as he looked at Uzumaki, who nodded. "You're going to find Tsunade, Haim? Yosh. This is such a great day. I will hurry back to Konoha before the sun sets. If I can't do that, I shall run 500 laps around Konoha. If I can't do that, then." Guy started with a crazed look in his eyes before Jiraiya stopped him. Guy, just go." Jiraiya sighed exasperated while pointing to the hole in the wall. "Hi, Jiraiya-sama." Guy saluted before running off and jumping out of sight through the hole in the wall. "See, now that's respect, Uzumaki. You could learn from his example," Jiraiya said as he pointed out Guy's devotion to the shinobi ranking system. "Please, he's obviously an idiot or on drugs. Let's pay for the damages and just get going, and we're using your wallet," Uzumaki said as he went to grab their bags while Jiraiya cried at the amount of money he would need to cover the damages. 3 days later. It's been 3 days since Uzumaki's and Jiraiya's run-in with Akatsuki. They used this time to talk about Jiraiya's absence in Uzumaki's life. Currently they were walking through a small town with Jiraiya, grumbling over the fact that every woman he tried to talk to dropped him the minute they saw Uzumaki. "Oh, stop pouting, old man," Uzumaki said. "It's not fair." "How do you do it?" Jiraiya asked. "Don't know," if Uzumaki shrugged before getting serious. "Are you sure this is the correct town where Tsunade is?" Uzumaki asked. "Of course I'm sure. Now then, what do you say to get some food? We have been traveling non-stop for the last 3 days," Jiraiya suggested as he led the way to a nearby restaurant that was open this morning. "No, I'm not hungry. I'm going to walk around for a while," Uzumaki said as he walked off. As Uzumaki walked around, he started to remember the first time he met Tsunade. Flashback. The 7-year-old Uzumaki was walking through a forest toward a town after sneaking out of the village when Sandaime went on his political trip to Suna. "The old man must be crazy if he thinks I'm going to stay in a village with people that will try to kill me, and all the ninja who actually protect me are out of the village." Uzumaki thought as he walked into a town. "Kinda hungry," Uzumaki muttered as he walked into a dango stand and used the last of his money to buy him something to eat. As he was eating, he got the feeling that he was being watched. He looked up to see 2 women sitting together. First was a blonde with her long hair and 2 ponytails tied with purple hairbands. The woman wore a gray kimono-style blouse with no sleeves, held closed by a broad dark bluish-gray obi that matches her pants. Her blouse was closed quite low, revealing her sizable cleavage. She wore open-toed sandals with high heels. The blonde's companion was a woman with shoulder-length black hair with bangs and dark eyes. She wore a long bluish-black kimono with white trimmings, held closed by a white obi, and open-toed sandals with low heels. It gave her a simple but beautiful look. He saw they were both looking at him, while the blonde one had a shocked look on her face. He watched as the blonde got up and walked to his seat and sat down. "Hello, pretty lady, my name is Uzumaki. Uzumaki. What's yours?" Uzumaki asked, sticking his hand out trying to make a friend, while the blonde woman had tears in her eyes and trembling. She picked him up and sat him in her lap, sniffling. "Oh no, lady, why are you crying? Did I say something wrong?" he asked frantically. "And no, you didn't say anything wrong, it's just that I was told you were dead," she said while Uzumaki looked shocked. "But why would you be told I was dead?" he asked while the lady smiled at him and wiped her tears away. My name is Tsunade Senju, and I am your godmother. The now revealed Tsunade said while Uzumaki looked shocked. Your godmother. But the old man said he didn't know who my parents were. Uzumaki said, as Tsunade looked at him curiously. Who? The Hokage Uzumaki verified. Oh, she said. They sat there talking throughout the day, getting to know each other, while Tsunade told him about his parents, how they loved him, and how happy they were to be parents. He met Shizune Kato, her apprentice. How long can you stay, Uzumaki-kun? Asked Tsunade. About a month before the Hokage goes back to the village. Uzumaki said. Okay, then we'll teach you some things while you are here, okay? Tsunade said while Uzumaki smiled widely. Lady Tsunade hasn't been this happy since she found out she was going to be godmother, Shizune thought, watching as Tsunade picked up Uzumaki and carried him out of the dango stand to their hotel room. Flashback end. Uzumaki was knocked out of his thoughts as he was on his way back to the bar Jiraiya was in when. Boom. He looked at Jiraiya, who was embedded into a wall with a bruise forming on his cheek. He turned into the bar and smiled at who he saw. Tsunade-chan. He called out, getting her attention. She turned to his, and her eyes widened before she rushed him and pulled him into a hug. I've missed you, Uzumaki-kun. He heard her whisper. And I am you. Uzumaki whispered back. It was almost midnight, and everyone was asleep with the exception of Uzumaki and Tsunade. They were currently sitting on a rooftop with Uzumaki sitting behind Tsunade with her in between his legs, as he hugged her from behind as she snuggled into his warmth. So why did you and Jiraiya come to find me? Tsunade asked. The Fire Daimyo wants you to be the 5th Hokage. Uzumaki responded. I refuse, she said immediately. I knew you would, Uzumaki said, causing Tsunade to turn her head to him. But I still want you to come back, he said, as he leaned into the nape of her neck. Why? I'm no one special, Uzumaki-kun, you should just get on with your life. You don't need some washed up old hag like me, Tsunade said sadly, while Uzumaki hugged her tighter. You're special to me. I love you, Tsunade-chan. Uzumaki said while Tsunade's eyes widened and she blushed as Uzumaki stood up. You're a very special person, Tsunade, and I'm going to prove it to you. Uzumaki said, as he took her hand and cut his palm, taking some of her chakra along with his. The blood that dropped from his palm split into 2 puddles, and blood clones formed. Picking Tsunade up bridal style, hang on, Uzumaki said, as he jumped off the roof and took off through the skies with Tsunade screaming and clutching onto him for dear life. While flying, Tsunade looked at the stars and reached out for the clouds. She looked at the moon, and a familiar feeling went through her. What is this feeling? Why is it that every time I see a full moon I get a massive surge of energy all of a sudden? It feels so primal. Mito boss said all Uzumakis get this feeling. Does Uzumaki-kun have it too? Tsunade thought to herself as she looked at Uzumaki. Where are we going? She asked. Look ahead. Uzumaki said. Tsunade looked ahead to see a bull-like palace, causing her eyes to widen. It's called the Lookout. The first Uzumakis trained here, Uzumaki said. How come no one knew of this place? She asked. It's been lost through time. Everything of the Uzumaki clan was transported here when Uzu was attacked, as there is a seal on the land that transported everything of importance up here, Uzumaki explained. So that's why Iwa and Kuma were so angry when they had nothing to get from Uzu's ruins. Tsunade thought, why are you bringing me here? She asked. This is a part of your heritage. You have the blood of the greatest race ever to exist, as well as the founder of ninjutsu's blood running through your veins. You have the power in you to be the strongest kunoichi to ever grace the elemental nations, Uzumaki said, as he landed on the platform and set Tsunade down, who looked at him in shock before she looked away. And how am I supposed to do that, Uzumaki-kun, when I can't even stand the sight of blood? She asked, as he took her chin and turned her face to him as he put his forehead to hers. You are going to train up here, and I'm going to give you back your youth, Uzumaki answered. What? How? She asked Uzumaki, who pulled back. Relax, Uzumaki said, as he channeled his celestial energy into his fangs and bit into Tsunade's neck and pushed the energy into her. As her body started to glow, Tsunade felt more energy than she ever felt in her life. Her hair started gaining red highlights, and her upai got bigger, growing to a J-cup. Uzumaki was surprised at how potent the Saiyan blood in her was before he unlocked it, and her bones got stronger as her body turned to that of a 19-year-old's. When he was finished, Tsunade pulled him into a kiss. Wow, she said after Uzumaki pulled back before she noticed that her voice sounded younger. What did you do to me? She asked. I turned your body back to a 19-year-old's. Although I had no idea that your upai would grow that big, Uzumaki answered as he muttered the last part. Anyway, now you have no excuses. I'm going to train you in the hyperbolic time chamber for 6 years, making that 6 days outside, Uzumaki explained as he started to explain what the hyperbolic time chamber was before they went to bed. Next day. Hyperbolic time chamber. Uzumaki was staring out at Tsunade, who was getting control of her hemophobia faster than he thought she would. They had been in here for about 30 minutes. He had a blood clone keep cutting itself till she stopped shivering, and it looks like she finally got over her fear. That was easy, Uzumaki said. Yeah, I guess it was Tsunade trailing off. I thought about what would happen if I got into a fight or if you and Shizune needed me to heal you guys, and it got easier to overcome my fear of blood. Tsunade said. But now I'm going to teach you about Kai. Uzumaki said, as he sat down in front of her and motioned for her to do the same. Now Kai is the physical component in chakra. The more you train in it, the stronger you'll get. To access your Kai, I want you to focus and look deep within yourself, ignore the chakra, and look for the more free-flowing energy. It's more potent, and for us it should be primal, as well. When you feel a pull, bring it out. Uzumaki explained, as he showed her how it was done, as a small red kite ball appeared in his hand which entranced Tsunade by its beauty. Tsunade put her hands in front of her, and focused. As she looked deep inside herself, she went around her chakra, and another source of energy. This one was chaotic and potent, but it wasn't free-flowing. Looking even deeper, she found a massive source of power. It was free-flowing, and really potent. When she felt a pulse, she pulled it out, and when she opened her eyes, a forest green Kai was between her hands. She looked up to see Uzumaki smiling at her. Now we'll focus on controlling it, Uzumaki said, as the orb diminished. 4 days later outside chamber. It's been 4 years for Tsunade and Uzumaki in the time chamber. Since then he's had Tsunade using shadow clones to learn Fuinjutsu, Taijutsu, Ninjutsu, Jinjutsu, and Kenjutsu, as well as teaching her about Riryoku. Currently 1,000 Tsunade shadow clones were working on sealing with a clone of Uzumaki watching over them. The original Uzumaki and Tsunade were currently in the sky sparring. The yellow streak fell from the sky, revealed to be Tsunade, although her hair was golden blonde and spiked while her eyes were teal. She looked up at Uzumaki, who was also in his Super Saiyan form, smirking at her. He gives her the bring it gesture, and she smirks before disappearing a burst of speed, and reappears behind Uzumaki. She kicks him in the back, sending him flying into the ground. But he manages to stop himself. Sensing a spike of chakra, Uzumaki looked up just in time to see a wood dragon heading his way. The wood dragon struck the ground, while Uzumaki tackled Tsunade from behind, sending them to the ground, rolling to a stop. Uzumaki was on top of Tsunade between her legs. They stared into each other's eyes before Tsunade pulled him into a kiss, before pulling back. Like I said, I won't take you till you're ready, Uzumaki said, seeing Tsunade's expression. Mito-chan should be here in a couple of minutes, Uzumaki said, helping Tsunade to her feet while she smiled, getting to talk to her grandmother again. Since she's been in here, she has met each of Uzumaki's mates, and she was surprised that 2 of her 3 students and her grandmother were his mates. They've been appearing to help her training multiple times. 3 years later, 3 days outside. Real world. Uzumaki and Tsunade were currently leaving the lookout. They had spent the last 2 years catching Tsunade up with all the sex she missed in her life, and some training here and there. It was currently dark out. As they were flying, Tsunade returned to her original form, while Uzumaki stayed in his 18-year-old form. So what are you going to do about Shizune? Uzumaki asked Tsunade. Well, when you gave me my mate mark, information rushed through my head, and among the information was a way to make Shizune immortal, till she finds someone to love and gives it up, but it's her choice, Tsunade said, making Uzumaki nod. What are you going to tell Jiraiya about your sudden growth spurt? She asked. Kyubi, Uzumaki said simply, causing Tsunade to nod. I still don't get why the Fire Daimyo would want to speak with us. Mito-chan knows, but refuses to say anything about it, Uzumaki said. We'll see when we get to Konoha, Tsunade said. Yeah, let's hurry. You have a meeting with the snake in a couple of hours, Uzumaki said, as he and Tsunade flew to the village they were staying in for the time being. As they flew through the window, they saw the blood clones asleep on the bed. Dispelling the clones, Tsunade and Uzumaki got into bed and fell asleep smiling. Next day, Tsunade was with Shizune waiting for her ex-teammate and his boy toy to show up. She had tried to explain things to Shizune, but the girl wouldn't shut up to give her the opportunity to explain. Orochimaru and Kabuto had emerged from the ground a few dozen feet from Tsunade, who was now faking a resigned face, while Shizune was looking at her in disappointment. So, did you make up your mind, Tsunade? Orochimaru inquired. Yes. On only one condition. You get the sacrifices. I don't care who, how, or from where, nor do I want to know. Tsunade sighed. Very well, it's not that much of a request. I'm sure I have some prisoners I don't need somewhere. Orochimaru shrugged nonchalantly. Fine then. Let's do this. Tsunade sighed, as she and the snake approached each other while Kabuto stood still and watched her movement suspiciously. Tsunade's arm was glowing with green chakra, as she raised it to touch the wound on Orochimaru's arm, where the puppet arm started, only for the snake to jump back when a kunai thrown by Kabuto struck the ground between the 2 legendary ninja. What is it, Kabuto? Orochimaru asked calmly. That is a medical covering, a wind blade channeled around her palm. I almost didn't notice it, Kabuto replied. So, Tsunade, you have decided to betray me, Orochimaru concluded. Nah, really? Tsunade rolled her eyes, as she slashed her hand towards the 2. Orochimaru and Kabuto jumped away and avoided the blade, only to gulp when a thin but deep gash formed into the ground. Interesting, I didn't know you could use wind manipulation. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes. Oh, you've seen nothing yet. Tsunade whispered as she appeared before the two and punched them in the gut, blowing them away to the grassy field outside the town. It seems your legendary strength isn't working too well, Kabuto said in amusement. After all, it didn't even bruise us. He finished while she raised an eyebrow. Kabuto, subdue her. I'll keep an eye on her companion in case she tries anything, Orochimaru ordered. Oh, no need. I tried to explain the situation to her, but she wouldn't listen, and now I'm ordering her to not interfere, Tsunade said, looking over her shoulder at Shizune, who was looking at her in shock before she shot before Kabuto and aiming to crush his ribcage in one blow. Unfortunately, she charged her chakra a moment too long, and that was enough for Kabuto to jump away. The resulting crater was of considerable size. Lady Tsunade, it would seem you're getting slow in your old age. Kabuto smirked. Too bad for you, you were quite a fighter in your prime. A pity. He finished taunting as he activated his chakra scalpel. He then found himself flying away with 2 broken ribs, courtesy of Tsunade, who had appeared beside him during his rant. I don't have time for weak rookies, Tsunade declared as she approached Orochimaru, who had bitten his finger until it bled. It seems you got over your hemophobia, Orochimaru mused as he watched Tsunade approach as he held his hand up for her to see the blood. No matter, he added before doing a few hand signs using the time limit he had till the pain in his arm would restart, and slammed palm onto the ground. In a puff of smoke, Orochimaru was standing on top of the 2-headed snake he had summoned. Do you think a grass worm like that can hurt me? I'm insulted. Tsunade frowned as the head Orochimaru wasn't lunging at her. Without hesitation, she backhanded it before looking at Orochimaru and realizing it had been a diversion. Wind release. Wind bullet, Orochimaru called out as he spat a highly pressurized mass of chakra right at her. She had gotten too jumpy, Tsunade realized as he was about to head her. She had shown too much too early and made the snake too paranoid to allow her to approach him so easily. As she jumped away and saw the blast expand, her thoughts were, let's have fun. She was completely enveloped by the blast, and Orochimaru blinked sheepishly at the power he had unleashed on the person he hoped to heal him. There goes that idea. I must acquire the Sharingan earlier than expected, it seems, Orochimaru mused as the dust began to settle. He was a little surprised that a figure was still standing there, but he remembered the seal on Tsunade's forehead. Still, she could have a limb missing. She can't regrow that, he muttered as he prepared to fight an angry Tsunade who was running low on chakra. Instead, he saw her standing there looking bored, her clothes dirty, but otherwise unharmed, while the seal on her forehead remained. Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto announced his presence when he landed beside the snake Sannin. Interesting. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes before forming a ram hand sign. Kai. But nothing changed. So it wasn't Jinjutsu, she really is unharmed, Kabuto observed. Yes, though I doubt if she was using any Jinjutsu anyway. You see, the one she's using to look young makes her unable to cast any other Jinjutsu worth using. And it was never her specialty anyway, Orochimaru mused. I thought you'd be done by now, Tsunade-chan. A voice was heard, making Orochimaru and Kabuto head look to the left. Yeah, well, shit happens. Tsunade grinned at her mate who had appeared along with Jiraiya. How's the barrier? She asked. What barrier? Orochimaru inquired before Uzumaki could answer. I think that one, Kabuto said as he pointed at the sky. Glancing upwards, the eyes of the snake Sannin widened. It was enormous. A humongous cage with various symbols he didn't understand was projected above them, having a diameter of nearly 2 miles. And, as he glanced downwards from the edge of it, he noticed that the barrier they were in was in the shape of a cylinder. How do you like it, Orochimaru? Jiraiya smirked. The kids are natural. Why thank you, Jiraiya, Uzumaki said. You damn brat, Orochimaru roared. I'll make you pay. Enough chatter, Jiraiya said before he quickly made some hand signs for earth release. Swamp of the underworld, he called out, and a swamp formed under the snake summon, quickly dragging it in its depths. Orochimaru said in annoyance, as he jumped away with Kabuto while drawing some blood before slamming his hands to the ground. As he landed, Tsunade and Jiraiya doing the same, as they saw their actions. Summoning Jutsu. All 3 Sannin called out, and a few moments later Gamabunta, Nanda, and Kasayu were face to face, their respective summoners on their heads. Orochimaru. Why have you summoned me? Nanda demanded. It's an honor to fight beside you once again, Lady Tsunade, Kasayu said. It's a reunion. Gamabunta chuckled. It's nice to be summoned to fight again. Speak, Orochimaru. Why did you bring me here? You know the price of my services, the snake boss demanded. That town over there has double the tribute. Kill them all, and they're all yours. And make the blonde brat suffer. Orochimaru hissed before grinning evilly. You're out of your league, brat. Really? Uzumaki asked, as he started going through hand signs before he drew blood and slammed his hand on the ground. Summoning Jutsu. A red flash appeared, making everyone look away or cover their eyes. When they looked upwards again, shock, surprise, and fear were what they felt. Above them was a beast that they thought was trapped in a seal to never breathe fresh air again. Above them was Hinokitsune, but he was bigger than he was the last time he was seen. What in fuck? How's he able to summon the Kyuubi? Kabuto yelled in horror as he stared upwards. I don't know, but we have to get the hell out of here. Orochimaru hissed. So Orochimaru, am I in your league now? Uzumaki asked innocently. Uzumaki, why have you summoned me? Kurama questioned as he glanced around before looking down and spotting the 3 summons. Ah, I see. Just the snake and the ones on its head. The others are on our side. Uzumaki instructed. Just that garden worm? Kurama questioned. Then what did you summon me for? Those 2 are more than enough to take it down. Hey, I thought you could use some fresh air, but if you don't want it, I can summon Jayuki then. Uzumaki said. No? I got it, I mean I do like to see the outside world every once in a while. Kurama said, as, unnoticeable from below, began to gather in his mouth. Yotsu-chan, perv. Stand back a bit. Uzumaki told those below. The frog and slug were at the edge of the barrier so fast that all Uzumaki could do was blink owlishly for a moment. Nanda was looking at Kyuubi above him with white eyes, as Kyuubi's mouth began to glow. Orochimaru, how the hell did you anger this man to have something like the Kyuubi? The snake boss trembled as he saw Kami's chosen one, who was introduced to every summoning contract a little of a month ago. You know this kid? Orochimaru paused from staring in abject horror at the tailed beast. He is K. Manda. Uzumaki interrupted Manda and turned to him. Don't you dare tell this foolish mortal about what I am. Uzumaki hissed as he glared. Yes, Uzumaki-sama. But now I want you to remove every name off the snake contract, with the sole exception of Anko Mitarashi. If not, then there will need to be a new snake summon boss. Uzumaki threatened Manda, who nodded as he saw the glow in Kurama's mouth seem to intensify. I accept it. Manda hissed eagerly. Don't you dare. Orochimaru yelled before he and Kabuto were thrown off. Shut up, you idiot. I'm not committing suicide for you. Manda hissed angrily before leaving Orochimaru's side and heading for Uzumaki and Kurama, who was waiting. Tsunade, he's all yours. Uzumaki smirked as the blonde dashed by him and socked the pale Sannin in the jaw, sending him flying until he hit the barrier and slid down. Kabuto wasn't any luckier as Jiraiya began pounding him as well. Meanwhile, Uzumaki looked at Manda and placed a huge scroll on his back. You free to go? This scroll has food for you, and you can. Also, it would be appreciated if you removed Orochimaru's snakes from it right away. Uzumaki said. It shall be done. Manda bowed before leaving in a puff of smoke. Uzumaki then thanked Kurama, who said he didn't get to fight away. Uzumaki then headed for Tsunade, who was still pounding Orochimaru. Something's wrong. Uzumaki frowned. It's too easy. Any last words, Snake? Tsunade growled as she was about to crush his skull. Kabuto had long since died. Yes, Orochimaru spat some blood. When I'm healed, I will crush Konoha. You still think you can escape? Jiraiya laughed. You took too many hits to the head. Why should I escape when I'm not even here? Orochimaru grinned evilly as he raised his hand to perform a hand sign. Uzumaki, however, shunned his side and grabbed his arm before slapping a tag to his forehead that glowed red before disappearing. I should have known. Uzumaki growled. You were a coward, after all. What is it, Uzumaki? Tsunade frowned. That's not really Orochimaru. Uzumaki explained as the snake was forming the same hand sign again and again without any result. It's a human sacrifice that, through a technique, it looks like him and has all his abilities besides some bloodlines and only a portion of his chakra. He learned it during his time in Akatsuki. And, true enough, Kabuto was revealed to be some other silver-haired teenager. What did you do? Orochimaru demanded. I sealed you in here until the sacrifice dies. You can no longer end the technique yourself. Uzumaki smirked. Then it's a matter of time, Orochimaru deduces. Yes. Uzumaki nodded. As he placed his glowing hands on the snake's vitals and partially healed him. Tsunade hit him where it hurts, but it's not fatal. We aren't in any hurry. Gladly. Tsunade smirked as she tore Orochimaru's limbs and began to dissect him, while Uzumaki healed him just enough for him to live. She removed his organs one by one and crushed them before his horrified eyes until only the vitals remained. At that point she took his still beating heart out of his chest and crushed the heart and revealed it to have been an Odonin. Well, let's clean up and head home. Tsunade said with a $1 million smile as she got up, grabbed Uzumaki, and headed towards the town, the barrier having disappeared when Orochimaru's technique ended. The end. Thanks for watching my video, and make sure to check out the author of this fanfic. Link is in the description. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.